Here's three things that nobody tells you about personal training as a career. So, number one thing that no one tells you is that you're actually not in the job of training people, you're mostly in the job of marketing and making sales because training people is just a small part of your job. What do I mean by that? So, when you start working out on the gym floor, the marketing thing kind of covers itself a little bit because as you walk into the gym, and you are a personal trainer and you have personal trainer on your written on your chest at Pure Gym, David Lloyd's or whatever. So people know that you're a personal trainer over there and you can train people. So that part of the marketing is kind of done. But you're also competing with another 5, 10, or 15 personal trainers. So you need to stand out somehow. And there's many different ways to do that. Now, you may just be generally a nice guy who helps everyone. And one of my colleagues was exactly that. He was a very successful personal trainer because he was generally a nice guy that's willing to help everyone. And in return, everyone got to know him as a nice guy and they trusted in his knowledge because all the free advice that he gave was very beneficial to people. So people then ended up willing to pay money for his services when they needed a little bit more personalized help. Also, you may market yourself by just walking around and chatting with people. But by going around and chatting with people, I don't want you to make the same mistake that I did, where some guys gave me an advice in the gym who's more experienced, saying then, oh, just go and help people and tell them where, like, oh, you're doing something wrong and here's how to do it right. So what I learned later, that psychologically you technically go to a person and you say, you fucked up here, let me tell you how you can do this better. It's a bit, you kind of get person into a protective mode rather than a nice and kind of welcoming manner where you can offer your own help. So don't go around telling people that their technique is wrong. It's better if you go and ask them, oh, what you're working on, what's your goals, and what you're trying to achieve. And without even trying to expect to make a sale, just have a nice and genuine conversation with the person. What that means is that that's your marketing. Now, the next time that person comes in, maybe they will bring a buddy and they will be like, oh, yeah, look, there's Modi over there. We had a very good conversation. Maybe he can help you with a certain thing. So you get more conversation started with people rather than, going there and tell them, you fucked up on the squad. Here's how to do it right. This was one of the worst approaches that I could do. Like someone like myself, I'm a little bit OCD, so I used to clean Nuffield Health quite well, and I don't know if that did any job in marketing. Probably not as good as if I would have gone and spoke with people. But also, what that does show to all the people that I have a certain set of standards. I like gym to be nice and tidy so members feel welcoming over there, and there will be people who appreciate that because it will look like I really deeply care about what I do. And then people will realize, because okay, he's taking care of this environment, imagine how well he would take care of me. So that's part of the marketing, where you make yourself visible through different qualities that you have, through things that you like and through things that you enjoy. And that was one of the three things that I learned as a personal trainer when I started out. And it's better if you learn that through people like myself, where we made mistakes and then we adjusted based on them. The second thing that I didn't know about personal training, it's also marketing related. And that was that I will have to do social media. And the idea of me filming this video would have sounded an absolutely ridiculous idea in 2017 when I first signed up for personal training course. And that would have really put me off. It kind of goes down under marketing umbrella, but at the end of the day, like, you have to do social media nowadays. Any business has to do social media to attract the clients because that's your kind of gallery where you show people what you've done, what you show people what you achieved, and you also provide value through social media, helping people to make better decisions for their lifestyle. So that's another thing that no one told me, which would have massively put me off from social media. And now it may look like I'm speaking quite freely to camera, but it takes quite a lot of time, and I still don't feel confident speaking with camera. So for me, it was a massive step out of the comfort zone trying to post on social media. And even now, I find myself procrastinating, looking in the screen, thinking what kind of posts on information should I do. And I didn't realize how much time social media takes, even though it falls under marketing umbrella. Now, look, if you're working on the gym floor, you may be able to get away from doing very little social media because you have a constant stream of people coming in through the door where you can engage in conversations, like I said before. For me, it's 20 to 12, and I'm sitting in an empty personal training studio. So people are not walking here on High Street or something and walking in through the door. I have to do social media marketing. So more people see me, more people know what my business is all about, and more people know how I can help them. And the social media part is a huge part of everyone's life nowadays, we like it or not. Because in my ideal world, I would delete all the social media and I would just train people in the gym. But it would be utterly stupid thing to do from a business perspective, because I can reach a lot more people through social media. So that's something that no one told me. And third thing that also no one told me is the income of personal training is very inconsistent. Now, don't get me wrong, you can make yourself a very decent amount of money as a personal trainer. However, I think it's not as good as it used to be. And probably I even would consider myself that gone into career a little bit later, because from what I understand, the competition was quite a bit lower back in the good old days, like a decade ago. And I think someone who's getting into personal training now will have to deal with more competition. So it means there is less clients who can potentially spend money on your services, and you have more people are doing that. So the income can become quite inconsistent, because people will be changing. For example, if they don't like my service, they will go to a one-to-one personal trainer, or other way around, maybe someone who cannot afford one-to-one personal training will come for my services. And also, you know alongside that, so people will come and go, because the way, to be honest, there's nothing wrong with that, because the way I really see this profession is no one should really spend more than 6 months working with a personal trainer. They should technically go through training with you, learn everything that you can, and then they basically move on, start training by themselves. And that would be how I imagine this profession working. However, when it comes down to like a real life scenario, some people have been paying their personal trainers for me, 4 years is the maximum so far, but some people paid 5, 10, or 15 years for their personal trainers, because they know they need to financially commit. Otherwise, they're not going to get their ass into the gym. Or other thing, you really get connected to people that you work with, and it becomes a little bit of training and hanging out thing. There's nothing wrong with that. However, most people will come in to achieve their goal, and then they will leave. Some will stay longer, some will stay less. So be ready to kind of constantly look for new clients. And that's what leads you to kind of having a little bit of inconsistent income. Because if you have clients dropping, you need to find new ones to basically replace those slots that has opened up. Also, by talking about replacing slots that opened up, you will have to deal with cancellations. And it can be frustrating and it can be annoying, but I personally try not to get annoyed with that. And I have been quite successful of not getting upset by people canceling, because I just try to find other things to do. So it means if I have an hour empty in my schedule, it means I can spend that time doing on marketing. However, you lose income and you lose working time because of that, and it can mess with your schedule. We can be extremely frustrated, but don't look into it as a frustrating thing. The way I see it, look, the people that can come and pay for personal training services, they don't prioritize the gym the same way that we do because it's not that important for them. They just come in to achieve a certain goal, lose weight, build muscle, gain strength, whatever it is. Like, but on the grand scheme of things, they have so much more interesting things going on into their life that they find more interesting, and gym is a little bit more like brushing the teeth for them. So that's something that they have to do. But if something more important comes up, they'll cancel the session. And also, you have to keep in mind that people who can afford personal trainers, they do have some spare income. So they're very likely to be able to, whatever, go on holidays a little bit more, or generally like they might be in very high demanding jobs where sometimes you just have to do the work, and there is some ways around that. But for me personally, I don't like to charge people for canceling the sessions. I mean, if it's last minute, it's a different kind of case scenario, but generally I try to not to charge people for sessions because I want them to come in and train with them, because I also like spending time with people in the gym. However, it doesn't necessarily mean this is the healthiest business approach, and I will change that as time goes along. I know that. It's just at this point, it doesn't feel very comfortable to do. But you may have done that already, and well done to you. That's absolutely amazing. And I just wanted to take you through a few things, three things to be exact, that you don't really know about personal training career and no one tells you, because every person who markets personal training courses makes it look very glamorous, but it's not that glamorous. And you cannot be your own boss in 6 weeks, because every single person that walks in through this door is my boss, and I have to make sure that my services perform to the level of their expectation. So don't expect that you'll be living the free life and be your own boss. You'll have to do a lot of things that you don't find comfortable, and you will have to make sure that your clients are happy. And if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll like this one. Let me know down in the comments if there was something, if you're a personal trainer and there was something that you didn't know that's about personal training career, no one yet have told you, because I would like to hear more, because maybe there's a few more things that I missed, and I'm sure there is. All right, see you in the next one.